Hello there. How are we tonight? I am trying to resist putting my two hands up in the air and waving because I laugh that every video is with me doing this. Hi, friends. And I just did it anyway. Hello, hello. I'll wait for you guys to pop on. How are we doing? Happy Friday night. So I went early because I'm just standing here waiting. And I'm like, I'm going to go on early. Today is my daughter's 46th birthday. Happy birthday to your daughter, Joan. Hi, Connie, Teresa, Kari, Irene, Dawn, Joan, Natalie. Hi, Leslie. How are you? See you in a week. I know it's going to be so exciting. Hi, Wendy, my almost neighbor. How are you, my friend? Oh, look at lots of friends are here. How are we doing? Did you guys have a good week? We are supposed to have a snowstorm starting tonight, but when I just looked out the window, it's just raining. So I'm hoping it's just raining. Happy early birthday, Julie Beaver. I hope you have a wonderful day. Do you have anything fun planned? Hello, Yerlise. How are you? Hi, B. Hi, Jennifer. How are you? Aren't you away? Yes. Hello. Good morning from Vietnam. That's very exciting. What are you doing there? Just traveling around? What are your plans? How's the food? What's the weather like? What's Vietnam like? I would love to know. It's snowing a lot here already for Natalie, so it's coming. We're supposed to have like quite the snowmageddon tonight. Hi, Deb. Vicki, my friend Amy is coming to watch for the first time. Can you say hi to her? I sure can. Hey, Amy. Hello, new BFF. Very exciting. Tonight is a fun one. Although tonight is one that you'll be able to partially play along, but then there's drying time. So you're just going to have to watch me go through the process. But if we have any issues with the connection, you'll know it's because we have a snowstorm that is starting outside. So we'll see what we can get done. I am thinking it's going to be a shorter one. Hi, Simone. How are you? Guess what? I actually got all the supplies out today to play along instead of just watching. I love that. So let me see comments so I don't miss. Hello, Suzanne. How are you? Hi, Tammy. Glenda. Yes, I will be in Moncton next weekend, right? Next weekend. So yeah, I'm over snow too. I told my husband now that I'm an old lady, I would like to live I can be a snowbird. I could totally go and live somewhere warm and only be home during like December. I'd be okay with a month of winter, but I don't like it anymore. Hi, Brittany. How are you? Yes, it was like spring today, but big snowstorm coming. Yeah, it's crazy. Weather's all over the place, but it is March, right? This is what we get. You had a snowstorm last night, Irene? Yeah, I'm done with that. Let's see. Did I miss anything? I'm just looking through. 85. Joan rubbing it in. Not 85 here. But yeah, is Amy going to play with you, Deb? Or is she just going to kind of observe for the first time? But Amy, jump right in. This is lots of fun. So I don't know. Did I miss anything? Hi, Joe. How are you? Lots of friends here tonight. I haven't seen for a while. Hi, Darlene. I'm going to just where the comments have started. So it's in the 70s in Texas. Very nice. It's not here. It's supposed to snow, I think, well, it's centimeters, but they said 2 centimeters an hour. I don't think it's going to be like a ton of accumulation. It'll probably all melt tomorrow, but I'm just like, I have to get on an airplane next week. So I would like it to kind of be gone. Hello from Barbados. Hello, Paula. How exciting. That's nice. Are you on vacation? So here's what I have to say. So I had a little bit of surgery today, and we'll see how today goes, because I'm smiling, but I am in a lot of discomfort. I had a mole removed under my arm. So of course, like, it's my right arm. So it is, I've decided I have no pain tolerance, or it's just really uncomfortable. So we're going to do our things. I'm going to demo with black gesso tonight and with white gesso, and we'll talk about different mediums and why I love this technique, and that it's trickier. It's a trickier technique, but definitely worth the learning curve when you nail it. It's a lot of fun. Stuck isolated in bed. Oh no, I missed the with COVID in Australia. Take care of yourself. Lots of water, get your rest, right? take your medication and take it easy. Yeah, you guys take care of yourself, right? Hi, Brenda. How are you? It's in the 50s in California. But is that cold for you? That's cold for you guys, isn't it? Shouldn't it be warmer, or is that normal? I don't know. Hi, Phyllis. So yeah, like I said, my arm is killing me. So we'll see how tonight goes, because I'm sitting over here. Oh, Rich is probably like, be quiet. I'm like, I'll go sit in my basement by myself. So tonight is fun. Like I said, there's a learning curve, but look at, so we're doing From Creative Foundations. If you're joining for the first time tonight, this is a book I wrote when the cavemen were roaming. It's been around for a long time. And we are revisiting techniques that I find why I don't get rid of all of my idea books, because even though this was written, before the dawn of time, it is still relevant. And tonight we're going to be doing this gesso stamping. So in your book, it is on page 44 if you have the book, but it's gesso stamping, and it's a lot of fun. 2011, right? Puerto Rico sounds good. Oh, I can't wait, Wendy. So I am in Moncton next weekend, and then the following week, I'm leaving for Puerto Rico. Rich is getting to come with me, and I will be on a pure vacation. So I'm very excited about that. So this is one of the bonus projects I did. So can you see in here, because this is a number of techniques, right? Where I took different sections in the book and did layered techniques. So can you see this? Oops, sorry, when I'm doing it backwards. This is the stamping in gesso. So I'm hoping you guys can see how pretty that is. So I did a couple of samples so they would be dry, because this is the whole thing is the two that I did for tonight, like 2 additional ones for tonight, they sat there and they were wet for quite a while. So it's one of those things I would really say, do your stamping tonight, clean up all your mess. Cleaning your stamps, getting the gesso out of them, and then set those aside to dry for tomorrow. So even if you don't feel like really playing, I would recommend, if you have like gesso or molding, some molding paste handy, that it's worthwhile to get it out and just do the stamping portion of it, because it's not going to be a lot of work. It's messy, so there is cleanup, but then they can dry and you could leave them for a month and come back to it. So if you are so inclined, that would be a lot of fun if you did that tonight. Do we have any questions before we get started? Let me know, because I'm looking at your comments. It has been a crazy week here. Ordering product for classes is a little bit of a nightmare. So I've been doing that and working on my next collection. So thank you very much for your feedback. I will be making the ready-made backgrounds tomorrow, which I will make like 20 or 30 of them and send them in, and then they'll pick their favorites. I'm very excited about that. So I have definitely taken note, and I've heard what you have to say. And I think a lot of you who want a little bit earthier pattern or palette will be happy, because it's going to come out with my fall release, which the color palette for that is a little bit more neutral and earthy, still with a Vicki twist. There's still color in it, but it's very, very pretty. I think you guys are really going to love that. With a lot of Vicki favorites, we aren't reinventing the wheel every single time. So there are things that I will happily have similar elements in many of my collections, because I like scrapbooking with them. I never get tired of certain things, arrows, butterflies, that kind of stuff. So very excited we're doing that. And I've been handwriting all the titles. So I have listened to what you say within reason, because there's some things I don't have a lot of control over. And even some of the words you've put in there are in past collections, right? I always put a good mix of happy stuff and then every day. And I have limits on what they'll let me do through American Crafts with some of the phrases and stuff that you have requested. But I've got some good ones in there that I think are for when times are not right, the best day ever. And if you've met me, and I know some of you are like, okay, Vicki, I know you have a lot of favorites and best days ever, but can we do other things? But I don't think I put that in every collection. Something I put in every collection is love it or love this, because I say it if you watch comments when I'm looking at your stuff, I say love it or love this all the time. So it's in every single one of my collections. But any faves you can share? No, I can't share anything this early in the process. But there, oh, do you mean for phrases? There were some good ones in there. Natalie had one or two I really liked, but there were like a lot in there that I can't put. It sucks. I can't put stuff like that. You know what I mean? Or ones that are like kind of go over the line. And I can't put OU in anything for my fellow Canadians, for my Australians, for anybody part of the Commonwealth. It is always going to be just the O, you know, in color. There's not going to be a U. So what I would say is if that really bothers you, you can cut it apart and just maybe cut some of the letters out and swap it out, or just spell it with the thicker sets. But I can't do that. But I have some really fun things that I'm going to be working on this year. So there's going to be some good things coming. That actually I had a meeting yesterday that I'm going to be getting the ball rolling with. So keep telling me things that you would like, because, you know, there might be things that I do that are just exclusive through vickyboutin.com, right? So it'll be a lot of fun. When do we get to see where to next? Darlene, I'm just waiting for them to send me the rest of it. I emailed them twice last week, and I'm waiting for the 12 by 12 paper pad, the 6 by 8, and the card box. So just know that even though you see other people sharing things with other collections, because mine doesn't come out till the end of this month, I still don't have pieces. So I'm going to get on the email again next week and just see if somebody can send me something. But it's weird. I don't want to start it, like go through the walkthrough without having all the pieces, but it is really, really like here, because I'm working on my 6 by 12 stickers for the next collection. Just to give you an idea here, I'll take these out and show you. It is very fun. And even some of the titles you've asked for are already in this collection. So I think you guys are going to love it. But this is a 6 by 12 sticker. And I want you guys to be able to see, I don't know if you can see it, but the texture on this one is kind of like halftone, like little dots, but it is a lot of fun, right? That airplane. So even though it is travel themed, there's stuff for beach, there's stuff for just happy times, like different things that you can use. And then the foil treatment on this one is actually, if you can see it on this arrow, is this kind of blue and black kind of thing going on, but it's a lot of fun. So it'll be good. I think you guys are going to like it. The color palette is really pretty. We're going to have a lot of fun with that one. So like I said, I don't have all of the things, right? The font and the calligraphy is really pretty. Yes, my earrings are, what do they say? I forget, Jar of Happy or something. And there's little stars, I think, in them. But yeah, or rainbow. I don't even remember. I put them on, but like I said, half time, I don't know if I'm coming or going. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm new to Vicki Boutin and mixed media, but purchased her grab bag to get started. So excited. Yeah, it'll be fun, Christina. We're going to be doing some mailing tomorrow of the grab boxes. And if you ordered things that aren't as a pre-order, we're going to get all of that together in our Winter Wonderland. So we'll be getting that ready. But yeah, Rainbow Magic. Is that what it says? Thanks, Irene. I'm like, I don't know. There's something pretty in there. I don't know what it says. So let's get started. It's going to be a lot of fun tonight. I prepped some of the samples so you can see what we're going to kind of work on. You can pick the color palette that you want. One is acrylic paint and one is distress ink, because gesso resists distress. So you can't get a lot of depth in the color, but it's really pretty when you have areas on your paper. Where are we? Areas on your paper that are gesso, and then the foundations paper in the back will totally accept the ink differently. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, Adam, how are you? Poppy, how are you? Yeah, I went with purple. And there's purple in the new collection coming out too. So I think that'll make some of you guys happy. And then I went in on some, on some black gesso. And then I mixed some of my gold glaze You could use Lunar paste, but guess what I used on here last minute? See on this one? Can you see the colors? If you guys have the distress crayons, what were these called? What, metallic, or I forget what the finish is, kind of the iridescent ones work beautifully on the black gesso. So it's an option as well, right? It's an option as well. I went out to try to find a Rub and Buff. Do you guys remember that? It's wax based. So why I love it, and I think Prima has some wax based pastes, but it's not sold in Canada anymore. So I don't know if it's because it would make you grow a third eye, right? Or turn you into Mr. Limpet. I don't know, but you can't get Rub and Buff. It doesn't seem to be anywhere. It's not Michael's. So you totally could, if you have it, it would work beautifully, but I'm going to try. I have tons of Rub and Buff. Stacy, you'll have to send me stuff, because I looked and I went to Michael's and I asked the manager and they're like, yeah, we haven't carried that for a while. And I love that freaking stuff because it's wax based. So it has a longer open time, and you can really work it into your areas. But yeah, I couldn't find them anywhere for the share sale links. So it makes me wonder, but I believe Prima. I ordered a whole bunch of Finnabar stuff, so I'm waiting for it to come. And I think I did get a couple different wax mediums. So it's definitely something to add to your creative toolbox. As I find new materials, for sure I will be sharing it. Okay. You've never heard of it. It's literally called Rub and Buff. And I've been crafting, I think, since I came out of the womb, right? Coloring, doing all of the things as soon as you could start creating art. And do you remember when buying vintage frames and that kind of thing was a real big thing? And we would paint them and then you'd antique them. I always used Rub and Buff because it's incredibly metallic. And the more you buff it, the higher the sheen, because it's wax based, right? But it's really weird. And do you remember what's back in the day? Some of you guys have been with me for a long time. And do you remember the product I used to use that was beeswax based, but then all the containers dried out? But I loved it. It was an amazing product, but because it was beeswax based, one, if you put your finger directly in it, it turned into a petri dish and you'd open it and there'd be mold inside of it. And then they all dried out and I threw them all in the garbage. But one of you guys will know that. What is it called? Amazon and Michael's US have it. Inca Gold. Thank you. So I worked with Inca Gold, like with the company, and I taught with it and had every single color. And then they all dried out and I had to throw them in the garbage. But same idea. It was a beeswax base, and it is awesome. If you find any kind of metallics that are in a wax base, are a lot of fun, right? You still have those petri dishes. Are they not dried out? Mine all completely dried out, right? You can't reconstitute it. So didn't we do something like that in school where you decorated chipboard like noodles? And then, but I think back then the teacher would spray paint them with gold, right? I think they would spray paint it. But in Canada, like there's got to be a reason. That's what we were laughing when I was talking to the manager in Michael's. Is if it's not carried here, there's got to be a reason. There's something in it that might not be super healthy for you. So just kind of be careful. Maybe it's lead, like, I don't know, with all that metallic in there. So just kind of read the label and maybe don't use direct on skin, like put a glove on or something. But usually, right, if it gets discontinued and canceled in Canada, it's probably there's something in there that's not the best. But you guys have restrictions. We do. Like, so it's crazy. It was everywhere. They used to have copper, like antique gold, like bright gold. But I'm going to let you know how the Prima one works, right? We have all the additives in the US. It makes you extra special, right? I don't know. Like, we expire a lot faster here in Canada. But yes, your Inca Gold, check them. All of mine went in the garbage. All of them were dried out and cracked. And then because I use them for class sets, some I opened up and they were like, we could put it under a microscope and see all the things that were growing in there. So just kind of keep that in mind. Okay. So can you get undo in Canada? I don't know if we can. I don't know. I don't know if we can. I might have to, like, I live right on the border, so I might grab that when I go over, but I don't know. Maybe that is why the mole had to be removed. All the wax you used before, maybe. I don't know. There was nothing wrong with it. It just was uncomfortable. Pregnancy wrecked all of that. But thank you, Natalie. Now Natalie's telling you that I'm turning into like a witch or something. So let's switch the cameras. Here we go. Sorry, I didn't mean to yell at you. That was like a really loud yell, right? How are we doing tonight? Is anybody going to be playing along with me? Undo is not available in Canada. Nope, it is not. We used to have it, I think, but yeah, I think I've grabbed it when I've gone over the border. But yeah, we have a lot of those things, right? We can get it, Dion? I don't know. Okay, I am taking my sweater off. And I am going to be in a tank top working here. I just have to remember to put it back on so don't scare you after. But I am telling you, the old age is kicking in tonight, right? Just watching tonight. So like I said, if you have the time to do it, it's not a bad idea to do. Sorry, it's not a bad idea to prep it tonight so that you can have it for tomorrow or whenever you want to work on it. Because like I said, lots of drying time, right? Just be comfy, Vicki. Yeah, here we go, right? I'm just sitting back and enjoying the show. I love it. So I played, like I said, with a couple of different backgrounds. And then I repeated some tonight. But like I said, I'm going to work on it. But I know this is not completely dry. See how it's got a little bit of a shine? But we will play with it tonight. I would recommend when you're going to do this technique that you set it aside for a day. I would leave it overnight. And the other thing that I will talk to you about, just a second. Let me block this creeper. Okay, just a second. You guys are getting boyfriends tonight. Hello, Robin. How are you? So not all gesso is created equally or the same. Some are very nice and chalky, have a chalky finish. Some of them have a little bit more of a gloss, meaning they're more like acrylic based. So just know when you play, your results may be completely different from mine. So I have tonight, what did I grab so I can show you? I have golden. You can't go wrong, right, with your golden gesso, because this is like an artist-based product. I have the Dina Wakley black gesso, and that's the one I put down tonight, which, like I said, takes a while to dry. I even gave it a little blast with a heat gun, but I know if we work it really hard, I don't know what kind of result we're going to get. But when it's that shiny and it's not super, super chalky like other gessos, I did put it on a little thicker just so we'd have a deeper impression. The other thing I have is it's like, look at Claudine Helmuth. This is when I went to Ranger U, which again was 100 million years ago, right? But it's still good. So a lot of these mediums, as long as your lid is on tight, it works really well. So I have this one as well, which I think, because they're both Ranger products, they're probably very similar makeup constitution, just kind of the same thing, right? And then I have the Vicki Boutin gesso and the Vicki Boutin molding paste. So I will have to say, with this technique, you really want a heavy body. So you want a material that when you use it, your Dina one dried up, yeah, put some press and seal in it, and make sure your lids are on tight, right? Craft Tea products sell a product that rubs on in metallic. I'll have to check that out, Lorraine. You'll have to remind me, because I will look. Yes, they were all sold out. They were all sold out at Michael's. I went to get it and they had none at Michael's, They had some in Niagara Falls, but I didn't have time to drive there. So liquid gesso, I would say, isn't going to work, Megan, for this. It has to be heavy body. Like, see how this one is pretty liquid? That is not a really heavy body. That one you're going to have a hard time getting an impression in. So what I'd recommend, what you can try, is put it on thicker, Megan, but let it start to set up. Like before it's completely dry, where if you pressed your finger in it, you'd leave an impression, and try that. Because I'd say we don't quit. We'll try anything. But that's the other thing that I would do, is let it set up for a little bit. And Lorraine, we don't have Joanne here. Hi, Nicole. What's the matter? Help all. What's the matter? Nicole needs help. Oh, hello. I was concerned. I was like, do we need to call 911 for Nicole? Hello, friend. Happy to see you here. And because Nicole's here, you guys, is tomorrow the last day, Nicole? I need to go on and order a whole bunch of cut files. Nicole is here, and Just Nick's studio is, I think tomorrow's the last day to get a bunch of her amazing cut files at 50% off. So definitely check it out. Today is the last day. Today is the last day. So I will make sure I go on there and grab some cut files. You want to do that at Just Nick's studio. Her cut files are amazing. So definitely make sure you go and check that out. I see. I thought it was the 4th for some reason. So what I was saying, the other thing, right? Like, look how thick this one is. That's kind of magic, right? Like more of a molding paste, because it's going to hold its shape, right? When you stamp into it. Vicki, do you want me to get you some Rub and Buff? We have it here locally. Yeah, I live right on the border, right? So I'll just make sure that I grab some when I go over. But I am excited because I do have some of the Prima one coming. They have a bunch of wax-based materials. So if I can get that, then I'm going to try that one. Well, I ordered it. So when it gets here, I'll try it. So that is the biggest thing with this technique, is that you want a medium that you're going to stamp into that will hold its shape. If it is very fluid and has like less resistance or more resistance to flow, less resistant to flow, it's not going to hold its shape. And I found with these two that this is more like that. It's has like more fluidity to it, so it does not hold its shape as well as the white ones. So again, this is our opportunity to practice and play. So I'm not going to show you guys the black one. I'm just going to work with a white tonight, but I'm going to show you how mediums go on the black. Okay, so let me show you. I got a jar. I love black by, yeah, Finbar. And I have some somewhere here, Robin. I have like a whole bunch of the Prima materials. I just have to find them because I have a mixed media cart that they're probably on, but right. The other thing that I find work better are red rubber, because the grooves or indentations are deeper than your acrylic stamps. Does it mean you can't use your acrylic? Yeah, you can still use your acrylic. You could use bubble wrap, anything. You could use cups to put like rings into your gesso. You just need something that you can, it's deep enough to create a pattern, right? So I have a bunch of these stamps are from Hero Arts, right? Hero Arts. This one is old. I've had it forever. Same with this one. What is this? Like Stampin' Up, the typewriter font. Other ones that I remember taking a class or teaching at an event with Christy Tomlinson, and she gave us a bunch of her old stamps. I never get rid of my red rubber background stamps. They're the best thing, right? Question, my gesso is more fluid acrylic. Would you suggest using my Ranger texture paste instead? I would suggest trying both, Jamie. And what I had said earlier is put the more fluid one down and let it start to dry. And when it is not like wet to the touch, but springy, you could try stamping into it then. but I wouldn't quit on it, right? See if this will work, but not when it's wet, because you know, you're going to press into it and it's just going to push out. It won't hold its shape. And then definitely try the texture paste. Definitely, right? Last day for what? For Nicole's at Just Nick Studio. If you want some amazing cut files, she's closing, very sad, her cut file store. But she has some beautiful cut files. So if you're looking for some cut files for your Cricut, Silhouette, Brother Scan and Cut, she has them all on 50% off. And then this stamp that I've been using from Hero Arts for 100 million years, which is called La Letter. And it's a script. So most of them are Hero Arts stamps. Red rubber cling. Okay. So what we are going to do is you need a mister bottle, because I'm going to mist all the stamp as like a releasing agent. Because if you put them in completely dry, they really get stuck in the medium. If you put a little bit of water on it, it kind of acts as a release. You don't want to soak the stamp. You just want it to be damp. The other thing that you want to do, and I will get up and do it as soon as I'm done, is you need to clean your stamps immediately. It's gesso. It will go rock hard in your stamps, okay? So you want to go and clean the stamps. I use a toothbrush or a scrub brush with my red rubber stamps just to get them clean. And then all you have to do is just water, as long as it doesn't dry. If it dries, you're kind of in trouble. So that's your biggest thing. You want to clean your stamps, okay? And as well, friends, if you're joining me here tonight and you are on the YouTubes, please remember to thumbs up the video. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do that. If you're on the Facebooks watching and you haven't liked and followed my Facebook artist page, I would love if you do that as well. It's one of those things I always forget to talk about, but it's important so other friends can find us, right? So let's do the thing. So I have foundations paper. I also have, where did I put it? Look at what else I grabbed. Do you guys still have lots of these chipboard shapes from Warm Wishes? I'm going to use this as well with the gesso, but I will cover the whole thing with gesso because it does have a shiny top. The other thing that you could do as well is sand it a little bit if you want to give it a little bit more tooth. But I'm just going to try it. Let's see what happens, right? So I will take the more Christmassy ones out of it. And let's just see if we put a little gesso on, what will we get? What will we get? That's good. Yeah, I went in because when I go to art, there was one Australian friend that's here, right? When I come to Australia, I'm very excited because guess what I'm doing when I teach at the class for Natalie May in Adelaide? It's going to be the best of Vicki Boutin. So I am going to be adding a whole bunch of pieces from all of my collections and doing an amazing class there. So if you guys are coming to that, it's going to be so much fun. It's going to be the best of Vicki Boutin. We're going to have some exclusive things in there. It's going to be really, really fun. So I'm very excited for that. So you need a palette knife for coloring, right? I have some, I'm just sticking with blues and purples tonight just to keep it easy. So I have some Distress and one Oxide. I also have some acrylic paint. And like I said, for the metallic portion of it, I have Lunar paste. We'll try that. I have my gold glaze. If you've been around for a long time, you might have that. And then I have the whatever iridescent distress crayons. And guess what, friends? These are like sold out. But when I do update my store, I never listed these, or the foundry wax or whatever that Tim had that is long sold out, or the watercolor pencils. So eventually when I have a chance to get them in the store, these are like things you can't find anywhere. And you're going to be able to find them in my shop, right? I will be with Natalie, really excited as well. I'm excited, right? It's going to be a lot of fun. So it will be good. Okay, so what am I going to do? I'm going to put down, I thought fun for tonight to show you I'll put down the gesso and I'm going to use the molding paste. If you're using Ranger or Golden or a different brand, that's totally fine. It may not resist the distress the same way that mine does, but I have found most that I use with the gessos resist the distress ink. So we can get it down on there. You just have to build a couple of layers to get some pigment. But if you took a wet baby wipe, you would wipe it all off because it does resist distress ink. Will your art crayons work? Yes, Sonia. Yes, they will. You definitely can do that with a stencil brush. Okay. I think you do need to look at Natalie's get together. It is going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And I know for some of you, you have to travel quite a distance, right? So it'll be exciting. Hi, Megan. All the stuff you have in your house as inventory, is it overwhelming sometimes? You are often mentioning stock not available anymore to the public, yet you have some. I do, because here's the whole thing. It's still only one Vicki. So if I stock the store, I have to fill those orders. And right now, with all the product ordering for, I think, like how many kits this year, it's a crazy amount of kitting that I'm going to be doing and then I'm going on vacation. So we will stock the store when I get back. That's what we've decided, right? What is the difference between gesso and molding paste? I have both and don't really understand the difference. One has a thicker consistency. Okay, one is a thicker consistency. And the sample that I did has both on there. So I'm going to show you how they accept the ink, right? Can't wait. You're doing the cruise. I love it. Which one, Bronwyn? Hi, Jessica. Oh my goodness. My friend Jessica Vestal's here. I love it. So my gesso is a little on the drier side. I'm going to still use it, right? When you open your gesso, might not look like this because yours might be brand new and still pretty fluid. So this gesso almost looks like the molding. Let's see if I have a one that's brand new so you can see, because that's a little deceiving. It's not going to look like that when you first open it. So I'm getting up for a second, friends. Let's see if I can find a different one that is not tricking you. Where are you?
Jessica is from the first cruise I was on.
Yes, she is. Do you remember?
I remember Jessica.
Rich remembers Jessica Vestal.
What are you doing over there?
Looking for my gesso.
Do you want me to come on and dance?
Yeah, sure. You want to talk to your friends?
Not really. I don't want to dance.
Not really, you just said.
I said I don't really want to dance.
You don't want to dance? Like a monkey? Dance
I just wanted to come over and say hi to Jessica.
That was nice. Now everybody else is going to be sad, though, that you didn't say hi to them, too.
Well, I'll remember them from the next cruise.
Okay, weirdo. Just a sec, friends. I'm just seeing. Okay. You know, I have 12 million of them, but they're in the other room. So we're just going to go with this. Just trust me when I say, when the gesso was first open, everybody's like, hi, Rich. B is here.
B.
Yeah.
B was on the cruise.
Yes, Rich. And Kari is saying hi.
Oh, well.
Kari.
Cruising pro with me.
Yeah. She's your friend. And Dawn. She said Rich should remember me. Yeah. Yes. Dawn and Serenity, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So imagine
that's it for me. See you later.
Okay, bye. Get out now. I got work to do.
What's on your ear? A jar?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
See, that's how my husband rolls. Did you like that? Like, he makes it sound like it is not nice. Did you hear that? What is on your ear? Oh, that's nice. Yeah, whatever, you wiener. Okay, so let's go in with this. So like I said, when it's brand new and not well loved like mine, it would be more fluid. So we are going to load your palette knife on the bottom, right? If you put it on the top, how are you going to get it off? There's that little arm. So most palette knives will have it. You might have a flat one, but just make sure it's comfortable. Less is more. You don't want to put too much product on here. One of the things that I love when I do the gesso background, because I want kind of open spots. I don't want one solid pass of gesso. I want some open spots. You also need to have it a little bit thicker so you have something to press an impression into. I like the little skips. Do you know what I'm talking about? The little skippity bops. Like, look at, where is that one I did? You want the drag marks. Skippity bops. Look at like the skippity bops, like the open areas when you drag your gesso. So you want to aim for that, okay? Skippity bops. It's the fly. Yeah, no, there's no fly here tonight. We're good. So I'm going to go on here and it's going to be on an angle like that. And I'm going to just kind of lightly drag. I'm not pressing too hard because I want it to be a little thicker. Skippity bops, right? When you drag down and it looks like it stutters, you want that. So make sure that it's thick like you love butter, that you want butter on your bread. So I would say not too thick because it will never dry, and I think it's too hard to actually stamp into, but get enough on there so you have some areas that are a little thicker, some that are a little thinner. It doesn't have to be super smooth. The texture is actually a good thing. Let me see if you guys can see that. Can you see? Like a pretty thick layer with some skippity bops in there. You have to work fast. You can't go walk away, have a cup of tea, come back. We are ready now to stamp in this, and then I'm going to get up and clean my stamps immediately. So I'm going to start with the text one, just because right? It's wet, releasing agent, and I am going to stamp into that. Oh, yeah. And then you can redeposit some of that as well. If you stamp off, you're going to have the negative and the positive of the text. So you could take this and stamp it off for a card on another page too. You will see that on my other page, okay? So just for now, until I can go and clean it, I'm going to leave that wet. And then I really love the polka dots. It's just easy. I'm going to take that and stand up because it's a little easier. And I'm going to even stamp into some of the text areas. And I want to press in there, not moving it around like I just did. Ooh. Oh, it's delicious. You have a lot on here, but it should be okay. Let's just wet it again. And I'm going to do that. Oh my goodness. This is the best one I did ever. I think it is a good thing when you guys are with me. Remember, and you can stamp some of that off. So you have a positive and negative. Look at. So in here, we're pressing into the gesso. And here, we're depositing polka dots of gesso. Do you see that? Right? Very fun. So what is Vicki going to do? Quickly clean my stamps, okay? Give me a second. And I'll tell you, the black gesso is a nightmare when you clean it up because it is very opaque and messy. I have a scrub brush and it's already done. Lickety split, they're clean, okay? So one of the things I'm working on in the new year is I'm going to do some exclusive stamp sets. So I want to look at doing some stamps like this. So if you're having some trouble finding them, I'm going to even look into red rubber because I think that it would be fun to have mixed media stamps that we use all the time, right? So don't touch that now. That sits and dries, okay? So that one was with gesso. You saw me clean. Hello, Stephen. Stephen, do you know I'm going to be in Moncton next weekend? I'm hoping I get to see you. You'll have to come by and say hi. Butter. You're speaking my language. Yeah. Or cream cheese. Maybe even like cream cheese. But not like how Devin, my daughter, would eat cream cheese. Like where it's like this thick. It's more like a liberal amount of cream cheese. That's how thick you have that on there. Okay. All right. So that was with the texture paste. So if you're looking at this, because you know, this is our whole creative foundation series. Card makers could use this, scrapbooker, art journaling. This would be beautiful on an album cover. We have done that in the past, but it is nice and thick. This one actually turned out like beautifully. This is probably the best one I did. So we have really deep impressions and then ones that are not so deep, but the texture is going to show up. So I'm very excited about that one. So that one was with the gesso, and here's with molding paste. That was almost too easy. It's true though, Nicole, right? The whole thing is don't overwork it. Just get you in and out, get in and out. But make sure you're going to do a couple, because you when you first start with this, it'll slip like this, like ice, right? So that's why I stood up and stood right over top of it and pressed into it. Because if I sit in front of it and go to stamp, I could really kind of slip it across the page. It's wet, right? So it's really easy to kind of skid in it. So just stand up and do it. I think it's easier when you work over top of it. So let's go in now with the molding paste, which is, look, even thicker. Oh yeah, right? So let's see what we get here, and we'll see, because I did it on my other page, not as beautifully as this one. You guys inspire me. So what's did I use on the other side? Okay. So now we're going to go, look, way thicker, like marshmallow fluff. Oh, skippity bops, don't ruin those, because that's kind of magic. That texture will show up when you go to ink it or add your mediums, right? So we are going to just get some in there, skippity bops, right? Thick enough with some that is thin. Sometimes where your skippity bops go, you're like, okay, but I really want to be able to put more medium in there. So see, it's a little heavier, right? That's definitely creamier, cheesier. Let's wipe your palette knife off. You put your lid back on. Actually, while we're doing that, let's icing a cookie too. So you could put it on the back too if you don't want the green, right? Actually, look. Because then I don't have to deal with covering the whole thing. I'm going to put icing that cookie. And when we do our sugar cookies here, we are not cheap with the icing sugar, or the icing buttercream all day long. We didn't even make any this year, but it's Rich's favorite. So it's ready. I can stamp that quickly. Okay. Hi, Denise. Here we go. Standing up, right? No time to mess around. Look at this one's going to be really fun. Wet, wet, wet. And I am going to stamp this right here. Press. See, it jiggled a little. Did you see that? And then let's lift it. It's pretty thick. So see what happened? It lifted lots off. I'll clean it better, but I just don't want to redeposit that. Do it again before it completely dries. Okay, and lift. Ooh, I love it. So remember what I talked about though? Let's see if we can deposit some. I don't want to press in, but I want where we are removing and we are adding. So I put a little addition. So let me run over, clean. Oh, let's do this one, but I'm going to just do dots on this one just because it's easy. Okay. But we'll clean that. We'll clean it. Let's put your lid on. And I will press into that with polka dots. It's just easy. Okay. Ooh, ooh, Vicki, you're all over the place. Oh, it's stuck on there. Let's just pop it off. So it's kind of a hot mess, but we'll go with it. Right? It's a little bit of a hot mess. Oh, here's the other thing. Guess what? If it is a little hot mess, because maybe I went a little bit too heavy on there, there's no reason I can't stamp on it again. I'll take some of that medium off. It's still wet, right? So you have a second chance for greatness. Let's see. Better. Totally love that. Okay. Okay. Quick clean. Quick clean. sec, friends. Just this one is a little trickier with the circles. There's a lot more detail on the stamp. Here we go. All right. So, what is the question? What's a good question, Jackie? How would clear stamps work rather than red rubber? Try it, but you want something that has like, do you see how the polka dots circles actually work the best? Because it was kind of, you don't want to detail this. If the stamp's too detailed, it's not going to work. You want a background stamp, and you want it to have like a lot of open space, right? Like how the circles have just very easy polka dots. Bubble wrap would work if you don't have a stamp you want to use. Bubble wrap would work. Cups, remember I said you could put rings and things with like a red Solo cup or lids. I used to do a lot back in the day when we used film, the little film canisters for our cameras. Okay, and then this is going to take quite a while to dry. It's very thick, so I know this one I wouldn't even touch till tomorrow. But how nice would this be on an album cover? But can you see that ring? Really fun, right? Any other questions? It's my foundations paper. Yeah, it's really, really heavy, so it holds the wet medium beautifully. This will probably really buckle on just regular cardstock, right? Can you use cookie cutters? Yes, Denise, you totally could. Anything that's deep enough that will put an impression in there, right? Your old double-sided tape ring, toilet paper, paper towel rolls. You know, other things I've used that are fun are pool noodle. You cut a pool noodle. Let's grab quickly an acrylic stamp. Let me grab an acrylic stamp. Do I have a background? So you see what I'm saying? You want something. Oh, here, like numbers could be fun, right? But friends, you can't really put it on the stamping block. That's the whole problem. So you need a background. Nope, everything I'm grabbing is rubber stamps. Foam stamps, if you have foam stamps, would work beautifully. Try this. Whoop, I'm wrecking stuff. Like maybe something like this would work. See? It's not too detail-y. Love this set of stamps. You want ice cream. This would be fun on that naked chipboard in your stash. 100% it would be, right? So let's do something. Do I have a scrap somewhere? So you see what I'm saying? You're going to have to put that down, and maybe tweezers will be your friend, right? Something you can grab it out where you're not going to stick your fingers in it. So this is going to be trickier. It's not that it won't work. It's just going to take a little bit more work. So let's see what we can put this on. Let's see what we can put it on. Oh, here. It's right here waiting for us. Right? We'll just go in. Let's do it in. Yeah. And this for sure needs to be thicker. You don't want to use your thinner ones. So I'm going to do it. Right? Not too thick because it is an acrylic stamp, but keep in mind that it dries very fast. So you need all your things ready to go as soon as you get your medium down. Be ready to go. Here we go. So I am going to press that in there. They're sticky, right? So you got to watch. Let's see. Ooh, it worked. And then I'm going to stamp and apply hopefully some of that gesso over here too. Okay. Oh, and some of the black ink is coming off. Oh, I didn't miss it, did I? Let's see if that makes a difference. As your releasing agent, but it's hard to add equal pressure on there, right? But it has to be deep enough that it actually will leave an impression. Let's see. So it's in there. We'll see what happens, right? It's in there, but I really think a background stamp is going to work better, but there is an impression. You could use probably your embossing folders too. Open up your embossing folder and press into it, right? That would work. They're textured. Let me give this a quick clean. I don't think I have to go wash this one though. We will just, missed it. But you see what I'm saying with the gesso, right? It requires a little scrubby scrub. So if you have, I'd get most of it off. Oh, look it. I'm surprised that didn't come off in there. Vicki does not clean her stamps. Question, any reason you don't use a stamping block to press into it? I will tell you why. Because I would end up pressing the stamping block into the background because they're not very deep, right? So unless your gesso is very thinner than that, but if it's thicker than that, you're going to press the whole stamping block into the gesso as well. So you can try it. You just got to be very careful and keep that in mind, depending how thick your gesso is. If your stamp is thinner than your application of gesso, you're going to press your stamping block into the background. There we go. Cleaning stamps is overrated. I agree. My favorite is when I go to do something and then I like stamp yellow into it or something. I'm like, oh, I guess I did not clean that. I guess I did not clean that. Any questions, friends? You have gold gesso. I love that. Now, just remember with some things, you may not be able to add a colorant on top, right? It depends because some pigmented products are very much like acrylic paint. So you know with acrylic paint, I can't add distress on top of it because it has that kind of vellum finish when it dries. It has like a glossy finish and distress ink will not ink on top of it. You could probably use some of your other inks, like maybe your archivals, but you know archivals don't have a lot of working time. You would rub an archival on there and it will set up very quickly. So it's not that one thing is right or wrong. It's experimentation. Work with your different mediums and see what results you get, right? So just for the texture is beautiful, Deb. Like you could leave it in the gold just like that, not do anything else, right? You could do like that. So I'm not saying that you can't do it. Just keep in mind that if you want to color, you would probably go in with acrylic paint, not ink. That would be a good solution, okay? So just kind of keep that in mind. You know, I'm just like sharing those things that I'm like, love it. Keep this kind of in the back of your mind. Because if you're like, oh, why isn't the ink working on that? It's resisting because it's an acrylic and it just wipes right off of it, which happens with these ones, right? This one is much darker because I put acrylic paint on here and this is with distress ink, right? Which the gesso resists. Like if I go on here, I'm going to show you right now. If I do this, look what happens. So I'm going to throw that out because kind of muck that guy up. And I'll go on with like a darker. I'm going to use Dusty Concord. It makes me want to have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? Question, have you ever added perfect pearls into your gesso? My thought would be with that, Paula, is you could do it, but gesso is opaque. So it's going to be hard for the translucency to come through with a gesso. I would put perfect pearls in a clear medium like, and I'll pull those out one day. I have tons of perfect pearls. That's one of those things in the grab boxes, right? I would put it in something like a matte acrylic gel so I could have the pearlescence of that. I would put the perfect pearls on top of the gesso. Do you mean that? Did you mean that, Paula? Like I would put the perfect pearls on the dry gesso. You didn't mean mixing it in wet, right? I just assumed that. I assume that, and right, I shouldn't have done that, but that's what I'm thinking. Yes, you could totally put it on top, but you just have to watch, right? I'd want to seal it with something, but usually with perfect pearls, if you mist them with water, that will seal them, right? It creates like activates something in the pearls that will make it have the binding agent will release.
Forgot to tell Kari.
What?
I'm working on a surprise for Kari and Jer for the cruise in June.
Okay.
You know what it is. I told you.
I forgot already. Seriously, I don't know what you're talking about.
Good. Tell her the surprise.
Okay. There's a surprise coming, Kari, and it'll be a surprise for all of us because I don't know what the heck he's talking about.
It's more for Jer.
It's more for Jer. Okay. So anyway, Rain Man has spoken. I am going to show you ink and paint. Okay. So this is gesso. It's the Vicki Boutin gesso. Now you'll see, right? And watch, because it's toothy. It will really rip up your blending tool. So I'm going to press it in to start and then rub it in. Okay. Press it in because it's got to go in the texture. But I want to show you something when I said, right, how this medium will work on here. Now, if I took a baby wipe, let's grab a baby wipe. He's just going to keep popping in. He really looks forward to Friday Night Live with his friends. Okay. Wet wipe. Watch. See what I'm talking about? Gesso resists distress ink. So I could, for the most part, wipe it all off again. Right? So just keep that in mind. Now it's wet. I'd dry it. But I wanted you to see what I was talking about, that don't get crazy when you go to buff it and use something super wet, because you'll wipe all your medium you just put on there, right? So let's go in here and deposit that pigment again, and I'll show you now how I will work that in. And see how it's dark around the edges? That's because that is straight foundations paper. See that? So it's not going to wipe off. That's going on paper. And then you want to press it into some of the deep areas. This is just a thin layer that we lifted most of the gesso off of this. So that dark is actually foundations paper because the gesso was removed, right? So just to give you an idea, put that around. I want you to see the difference. And I press it in. A lot of times I'll let it dry a bit and then I'll come back. So when I come in now, I want a paper towel that's just a little bit damp. I don't want to wipe. And then I can go in and just start to work and lift so I have some areas. This is one of those things that I really work. I work this quite a bit. I put a layer on, I dry it. I put another layer on, I dry it, I remove. So for these techniques, like I sat and worked on this for probably about 30 minutes, putting ink on, removing ink, putting ink on, removing ink, and then we can go in with the gold as well, right? So just to give you an idea, and the darker the color, the quicker your results, right? So let's show you if I put a little bit of water on here, if I wanted to have maybe some areas that are lighter and some are darker. So I could go in here with a little bit of water. It's not really wet. It's just damp. And then I could start to have areas that are light and areas that are dark. This is really cool because this is where the text stamp is. Let's show you. Look at that. Can you see that? That was the kind of book paper one. But let's show you another thing that can happen. So if I go in here, right, and I want to watermark because this is kind of a hot mess, anywhere that water sits on here will lift right off of that gesso. You could let it just sit and dry, or you could be impatient like me and just lift it. If you let it sit, that dark purpley pooled areas are going to stay on here. If you do this, you're going to remove all the pigment. So let me show you again. So see, If you let that just dry on its own, the dark outer rim will stay there. If you lift your water, you're going to remove pigment and water for white dots. Okay. So now you have white dots. So I'm going to dry that now with a heat gun, and I'm going to go in and put another layer of pigment down. Now, why did that happen? Well, look at it. It still has this hint of the purple because it's on paper porous, gesso, skating rink. We actually lifted all the pigment off the top of the gesso. Okay, heat gun. I'm not going to bake it like a cookie. I just want to take the moisture out. And, oh my goodness. So that I can put more pigment down. So I don't want this to be wet, right? Let me go. Oh, can I tell you another thing, friends? You can't blend two colors to make a new color on top of the gesso, because as soon as you put another color on top, it's going to remove the other one. Let's go in now with, we'll go in with prize ribbon. Okay. I'll show you. Do you see how it's blue? It's not making a purpley blue. It's just kind of making a blue. It almost like lifts the other pigment off. So just make sure when you do that, it won't be the case on the and you could even, if you wanted to, like cheat a little bit, deposit a little bit more color in there. Pounds it in. Ooh, I like that. Okay. Now I'm not going to watermark on this now. I'm going to go in and I am going to rub it with, you could even like, let's try, I'm going to try something fun tonight. Does modeling paste resist distress like the gesso? I'll show you on my next page, Susie, because remember the one I told you I prepped earlier has both. So let's see if we get like a janky paintbrush, right? Let's wet the ends. Okay, I wet the ends and let's see. Maybe that will work. Maybe it won't. We'll see. Will it lift? Can you see? I'll show you in a minute. It's just kind of more controlled lift of, and let's see what happens now if I buff it. So, oops, see, I just lifted a bunch off. Totally digging that, man. Okay, I'm going to dry that. Can you see it? It's very kind of galactic, right? Can you use oxides? I'll show you oxide on here. So remember, so what's the difference with oxide? What do you think oxide's going to do? Remember, oxide has a milkier finish to it, so it's not going to be as translucent. So let's blend some oxide right in here, and then we'll do the bottom with acrylic. But do you see what I'm saying? When I'm, oop, it's not really plugged in. Oop. Really digging this. Is Karen Dunbrook here? Wouldn't this be nice on a card, Karen? It's fun, Nicole. It's definitely a fun one. And more magic will happen just the more you play with it. Deposit, lift, right? So here's oxide. So this is my oxide blender, right? Do not put your inks. You can't mix distress, regular distress and oxide. You'll wreck your pad. Okay. So always has to have its own. So I know I used this earlier. So let's go in here and show you with oxide, more pigment deposited. Oh, look at, Magic is happening. Look at that. But it will definitely, look at, negate everything I just did. It is all gone now. But play with both, right? So let's see when we do our watermarking, what are we going to get? I'm not going to lift that. I'm going to dry it on here for a bit. Okay. So I could totally go back in there now with my, let's go in. Oh, of course I took that off. So we're just going to go with the prize ribbon. See, you're going to lift. It's going to move it around. It kind of lifts off. Make sure you clean your brush. Let's see what happens. I don't want oxide because it's going to resist. I don't want that on my blending tool. So let's take now our damp wipe and see what happens too. So what I find is you're going to just have, it's more of a solid color. You don't have the kind of depth and value with the oxides. Does it mean you can't use the oxides? No, just know you're going to get a little bit different result. Okay. So you could totally keep playing with that. Layer, lift, you know, add, remove. You want it in the deep grooves. Magic happen in here because where you see the dark areas, it's actually foundations paper. The layer of gesso was so thin that when I stamped into it, I lifted it and we got back into contact with the foundations paper. Okay. So this is one of those things I really want you, lessons that you learn from playing with Vicki, hanging out, is you should not only do one of these. You should do, see how I did different strips and playing with different mediums. And then you could write right on here, put sticky notes so you know what mediums you use, what happened, like, oh, this was thicker, this was thinner, this is a result I got with this is a result I got with the other medium, because it will all be a little bit different. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with some Liquitex, which is pretty opaque. I'm going to throw that right on there. You could rub it in with your finger. You could get a paintbrush, whatever you want to do. I'm just going to apply some paint. And I don't have anything else with me here, so I'm just going in. I know this is probably going to make some of you twitch. And now I'm going to take my paper towel and just kind of wipe it in there a bit. Blend out the edges. You could totally use a, ooh, look at, blend that up into your distress ink too. So when the two worlds come together, right? Now these edges, you would have to wet to blend it out because it is going to be acrylic paint, right? You don't want that kind of really dark painterly effect, but totally digging that. Now my finger's pretty wet, so what was happening there is I'm going to start lifting the paint off. Okay, I'm going to dry that a little bit. Look at, don't do that. I know for some of you, like I said, that probably pushes you over the edge, but look, it pretty much wipes off. When I wash my hair tomorrow, most of this will come off. But if you have a wedding to go to or you're serving dinner or something, you might not want to do all of what I just did. So when I put the acrylic paint on, I want it to set up a little bit before I start to buff it off. So I'm not, it's acrylic, so you don't want to heat it too much, but I just want a little bit. And now I'm going to try to wipe some of that off, okay? Because I want to expose, oh, that's so cool. Look what's happening, because it is actually going into the foundations paper. So I'm going to put some water on here and then start to buff it off. But see, I got way more pigment deposited because it's acrylic paint. Okay, there goes the manicure. Oh, it washes off, because think, I've done this already like a couple of times today, right? I like this though. I'm not even going to mess around with that. I love how it's soaked in up here. I love how this light purple is in the foundations paper where it totally lifted from the gesso down here, and I have some water marking. It's kind of magic. So sometimes, like, look how fast that happened. I don't want to mess with that. I'm very happy with that. So see this one here? It's acrylic paint, but I went in with oxide after. So I'll show you on here how we can deposit a little bit of oxide ink on top of your acrylic paint, because it's going to sit on the acrylic differently than it would on the gesso. So watch, we can go in, we'll put a little bit of that blue down in here, and then we'll rub some of the gold in here. So watch what will happen. It's not going to lift the purple off, right? Because it's acrylic. So I'm going to do that. Oh my goodness. Now, do you see how it made the purple chalky? Like the purple's a little chalky because not transparent. So I'm just going to go in there and lift some of that off. Oh my goodness, I love it. I just want to buff my purple up a little bit. So a little bit of water. That was a lot. So don't go in too wet. I want to bring the purple back to the top. And then I have this kind of magic going on there. Look at that. How pretty is that, right? Love it. Okay. So now, who would like metallic on here? Like, who would be excited to put metallic on here? I want you to keep in mind, I'm going to rub it in with my finger, but it's not very thick, right? So if I go in with a big gob, like that's going to put you guys over the edge, but Distress ink stain, they stain. The paints and stuff will wipe off. Distress ink will be in your skin for the weekend. So when you go to put the gold on, here's your thing. You're going to watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to apply it on my finger, but then I'm going to rub most of it off with my other finger, or you could put some on your craft mat and lift it. But you want, when that gold goes on there, that it's a thin layer, and you only want to put it on the raised bits. So you're touching it like feather, feather, feather soft. Less is more. You can always add, but if you get too much on there, you're committed. You're committed. Okay. So see how I did it on this one? Just dragged it. Ooh, just a little bit, went kind of in one direction. So let's see. Vicki is going to try not to ruin the things. So you have Lunar paste. I'm smelling it. I like to smell my mediums to see. Do you think the chemical makeup is the same? Very similar. This, look at, okay. So this, you can only find this probably from me or a couple of stores that have it. It's discontinued. This is an amazing product. Color is almost exactly the same. Crafters Workshop has some. There's lots of different metallic mediums. I love Simon Hurley. So I'm like, hey, try that. So I'm going to put both on here. What else do we have? And I want to show you with the distressed crayons will work beautifully on here as well. Okay. So if I just do this, that is no bueno. You want it to be on your finger, but it will set up. You don't have a lot of working time like that. Do you see? And then you can go in here and just add, not everywhere, not everything. I know some of you think everything should have gold on it. And then look at, I'm going to apply it from my finger. I'm loading my brush. And then less is more. You can always add, but you can't take away. And you will find you have very little working time. It will just stop working, okay? So it dries very quickly. Less is more. Light, light touch. And I'm only kind of buffing it into some of the raised areas for a little bit of cosmic magic on there, okay? So now, can you see the metallic on there? Very pretty, right? So this will wipe right off. I'm going to wash my applicators, and we'll try it with some Simon Hurley. The other thing I want you to know with Rub and Buff, why I love it, is once that sets up, and even this works, I'm going to take the heel of my hand and I will even go in here and buff the gold a bit. It will not work the same as Rub and Buff, but I find that I can lift some of that pigment out. Okay, so you get a little bit more of the shine. Let's try it with Simon Lunar Paste. Consistency is very similar, right? Loading my brush. I want to add some in here too. Where? Here. Okay. It is not as thick, so you might need to go in a couple layers, okay? But works beautifully. So load your brush. You don't want a lot on there. Less is more. You can always add, but you can't take away. That looks like a seashell in the middle. Love it. So I tried adding it with my ink blending tool. It got into the nooks and crannies, right? Rub and Buff is wax. It's a wax medium that I can't find around me anymore. But it is like Prima has some. You can get it. So let's see it. Like I got a lot on there. I don't really love that. Can I take any of it off? Let's try. I think I can because I think this will even resist the gold a little bit. But if you get it too wet, you will lose some of the shine, okay? Ooh, brought the purple right back up though. Love that. Okay, so look, I was able to. So if you work it pretty fast, you'll be able to lift your pigment off. But I really love this. Love that. So you have that lovely metallic. Can you see it? How pretty is that, friends? Love it. Yeah, as long as it's wax based, like beeswax or whatever type of wax they're using in it, you can get like some amazing results with that. So we could go on here and stamp. You could stencil on top for a whole, like you could stencil, like let's do it quick. I have one here. So if I wanted like quite a bit more gold in some of those open areas, there's no reason that I couldn't go in there and add another layer of texture. Look at that. Because, right? We can do anything we want. Oh, I love it. And then let that dry. Look how fun that is, adding that second layer of texture, right? Ranger's waxes work. Is it the one that is almost, you have to heat set it to work? Try it. I brought it out. I got it out and then I decided I wasn't going to use it. So I would say give it a try. And we never waste this, right, friends? We don't waste. So what would I do with this quickly is on one of my scraps, put my lids on so your medium doesn't dry out. And then we would do this. Missed it. And we will find anything, right? And we would put that on there. And we would press it with a paper towel. We could brayer it. You could mist through it with another color. You could have sandwiched this on 2 sheets, misted it with water, and you could pick up that pattern that will come through, right, on a second sheet. And then you lift that and you have another pattern. And then to soften that, I would wet that and let it kind of bleed around. Because why would you throw that away on a paper towel, right? It will be a very fun technique later, so we don't throw that away. Vicki, could you use the foundry wax? Yes, somebody just asked that, Lorraine, and I would say yes, I think that you could, but it's very fluid. So think about how you're going to get that on your raised bits without it going into the valleys. So I think if you put it on a blending tool and lightly in one direction move it across, you could do it, but just know that it's going to be a little trickier to work with. So I would say yes, you could, and then heat set it, but make sure, I'm just giving this a quick wash, friends. Make sure that your gesso is dry. I would only do that if my gesso sat for like 24 hours first. Because if you put too much heat on gesso, it is acrylic base and it will bubble. It will bubble and toil and trouble, right? So just, I would make sure my gesso had sat for a little while. Okay. So we have ones that I've done. So this one is in the molding paste. This is the gesso. And then look at, we have black. I know this isn't completely dry because it shouldn't be shiny, but I'm very impatient. Let's do some things. What was the first gold medium you used? It's Vicki Boutin. It's my brand with American Crafts that they discontinued on me. So you can still find it. If you search it online, lots of stores still have it. You just can't get it from American Crafts. It's completely sold out. The only one they have a little bit left of is the silver, right? Okay, so I want to show you something which has lots of wow impact. If you have those metallic distress crayons, let me show you how fun this is. I'm going to clean up a little bit. Oh, now oxides, you could totally look. Let's do a little oxide. So see right here, I stamped into the black gesso and then I stamped off. So there's a positive and negative happening, right? I pressed into the medium and with the dirty stamp, then I pressed it onto white cardstock or white foundations paper. So let me show you this. I'm going to go in with some Salty Ocean. So look at it will go on your gesso, right? It will go in your gesso because it's milky. Let me show you with regular distress ink. Now, I don't think this is going to show up as much because it is transparent and it's on black. So black is going to negate everything. So let's see what happens. Can't see it. Can I see it on here? Yes. I can totally see it in here because it's on white. So if you're putting on black, is it going to show up a lot? Not really, but you get a little bit. So what I did here was, remember, with a damp, look at that. So I can start buffing on the black and then it's only sitting in the little valleys. And I could still go in because I don't want that all really solid. Well, let's try it. We'll put a little water on the black too. Okay, friends. And then lift our watermarks. Oh, I love it. So look. Right? You can see it does start to highlight some of the texture. It looks beautiful on here, which I could also then go and buff the color off the black ones once it sets up. This is just a dry paper towel and I'm literally just using pressure, okay? Now, as I was playing along, things that I noticed was that, how will these work on here? The distress, pearlized distress crayons, right? So I'm going to use the side of it. I'm not going to color like this. I'm going to use the side and look at, oh my goodness, look at that, friends. That really shows up on there, doesn't it? But I don't want it just in that sketchy, but you have working time. So you can go in and start to buff it into those areas. And it is pearl. Now, could we watermark on that? Yes, because they are water reactive. So we could go in there and lift some of that off as well. It's pooling into those areas. So let's just do this and pounce some of that off. Let's see what happens. Oh, I love it. starting to build. I really would have to work and build if I heat set that. And then buff it a little bit. And then add some more. Buff it a little bit, right? So now I have a slightly pearlized blue. Let's put a little pink in there, and then I'm going to go over it with a gold. So what will happen over here? Okay, you don't want to rub it all off. What about where some of that text is? Okay. Can you color gesso with reinkers? You could try, but again, it's pretty milky. You're only ever going to get kind of a pearly, like a pastel-y color, right? You're not going to get a like dark solid color. I would probably go in with maybe some acrylic paint, but still, again, you're not going to get a really solid color. You're going to get the white will make it milky, right? I'm just taking the blue off my finger, and I'm going to rub some of that pink in there, right? Very pretty, right? A little bit of Miami Vice 80s going on in there. But let's see what happens when we go in with our gold now. So we're going to load our brush, which is my finger, very thin layer. Again, you got to watch. You don't want to cover all of it up, right? Buff that in there. And this is one of those ones I would totally be going in and building in layers. And the other thing that's kind of cool is I can go in after, and I could put the art crayon or the distress crayon on top of it again. Right? Again, if you're not liking what's happening before it completely sets up, you can buff some of that off, right? If you put a lot of water in the golds, though, it will take your shine away. But you can really see it starting to really pop. But like I said, when this dries, whoop, Vicki's making a mess. My nails are filthy. Is I could go back in and put pink on top again. There's no reason. So I could have kind of that rose gold finish going on. Do you see? The pink will go back on top of the gold. Very fun. Okay. Like these ones I loved in the circles. Watch. Right? You can just play in your circles. Right? So just kind of go in, play. The oxide, though, on these is easy to apply. Right? And then you can just buff it off too. So you are going to see that some of it you will like, and like others that I'm like, I like this. This one is very solid. I like when it's soaked through into the on the cardstock. So, you know, I totally get that some people would love working with the black. For me, I like the black. It's not my favorite. I actually like the effect that you get with this one with the whites. Okay. But there again, it's all personal preference. So let me show you quickly. This is the one I had done, right? This side, gesso. This side is the texture paste. So what do you want me to add on it? Are we good to just go in with distress? Will we be okay with that? And I'll even try these, but I don't know if they're going to pop as much on the white, but we'll try it. So let's go in. And I had started with the shaded lilac when I had done this. This is going with the oxide. Oop. How we doing out there, friends? I'm still on here, right? So this is very textural. I love, remember, areas that are into the foundations paper. But it will resist, right? So you have a light and dark area there. Hi, Irma. So let's go and work as well on the gesso. I'm just pressing it in because it is really eating up the blending tool. So I would say the gesso is actually picking the medium up a little bit more than the texture paste, but I will show you. And when we put a darker color on, you'll really see. Look at, it's absorbing it a little bit more, isn't it? And this one is resisting a little bit more. Do you see that? But this is when I was saying the skippity boos and all those little bits. Like you really want that in your background because look at that. Oh, pressing it in there because it's just going to eat my blending tool. Okay. Those are the skippity bits that I was talking about when you drag it. So I'm going to go in now with some of the darker, dusty Concord because you will see a little bit more of that. And this is where I stamped off the words, right? So you get a little bit of that showing up. But you see what I'm saying? It will resist your medium. So when you're going to build that in there, you are going to do your watermarking. You can. You could put gesso through a stencil, but it's a different technique, right? We do it all the time, but it's not this stamping in. You're not going to get it pressing a pattern into the medium. You're going to have a stenciled gesso background. So yes, you can. It's just a different, right? Different approach. Love that. Right? So you would just keep going and building your pattern. I want to show you up here too, because I had stamped those circles off, right? Look at the effect you start to get where you will have the gessoed area. Right? And the paper area. Heat set. Yeah, you won't be able to do it tonight, Connie. Like I said, I did it while I was working on product orders, and it sat there for 2-3 hours, and it was not dry. Like it wasn't dry in time for this tonight. I had to give it a little blaster with my heat gun. Okay, put some more down here. So like I'm saying, you really would just start working all of that, right? Oh, look at. So that's lifting some of that rusty or dusty Concord. Okay. And then you could wet your paper towel. You can buff some off. I want to press some of that dark blue in there, and then we're going to put some gold on. So stencil stamping, the difference is that you're stamping into a medium, right? Like this. You wouldn't get that from stenciling the gesso on, because most of your background is going to be gesso. And then your pigment is only sitting in the valleys of where you lift the product off. So could you stencil it? Yes, it's just a different technique, right? It's not the same thing. This is not the right color. This is. I'm gonna put a little bit in here. So this medium is a lot thicker because this one, right? I really want to press that pigment into the areas so I can lift it off, and it's only sitting in the texture. So you could put spray mediums on here. You really could play with whatever you want, right? Like everything we do, it's like, okay, what happens when you use acrylic paint? What would happen when you use your inks? What would happen when you use maybe paint that has more flow than your heavy body acrylic? So it really is just about playing. So I'm buffing. I want to bring some of that white to the top, right? I'm removing pigment. So I start to reveal pattern. And my paper towel is totally getting destroyed because it's rough, right? Oh, I love that. What just happened there? Look at that. Let me throw that away. I will put it up to the camera. See? So I press the pigment in, and now I'm lifting it off of some of the gessoed areas. And now I have that pretty reveal. So keep in mind now, if we go and put some gold on here, you don't want to cover everything in metallic. I want some of the white areas to show, some of the blue areas to show. So I'm going to go in very sparingly. We'll use this one now. Very sparingly. So if you put on your ink blending tool and you rub it on there, it works, but if you press hard at all, it's going to go into the valley and then you lose all that detail, right? So again, less is more. I have hardly anything on my finger. And now I'm just going to go in there and start adding it onto some of these raised bits, but I don't want to cover everything. Just part of it. And I really like some of these sections that are that kind of gesso business going on, right? And you will find some stamped images are easier to do this on and some are not. Has anybody played with this tonight, and what kind of results are you getting? But you know, once it sets up, it's not going to move for you anymore. It dries, it's committed, right? So that's where it could be, right? A little bit of a problem. But like I said, before it completely sets, you can go in and soften some of that gold and lift it back off, right? I will let this start to set up and then I kind of almost sand it off if you want kind of look at that really distressy look. And like I said, a lot of this art I sit and play with for a very long time before I am happy with my end result. Let's see, what's that gold look like if we just put it right on here, just on the white? So you could even do that if you wanted to, right? But like I said, if you're using the wax, does anybody have rub and buff, and has anybody grabbed it and tried it? You have a longer working time with it because it's wax. Yeah, the metallic wax later. You're going to get, the result is a little easier with the, I'm going to put water on here. What happens? Can I move that around a little bit? I think I can. Oh, look at that. Look what just happened there. I love that. It is not as it turned into kind of like a water paint, right? It's a water paint. Will it take some of the shine away? It will, but there's tons of little flakes of mica in there. Oh, I love that. So you could do that on the black too, is just go in with a metallic. And that could be a really pretty background. So let's do a little down here, and then I'm going to give you a close-up of some of these, okay? And the Lunar paste and stencil, and you love it. I love that. I bet it's beautiful. Yes, results with gesso are good. A little too much in one area, but use a script stamp with, oh, I love that. That'll be really nice. I'm so happy you did this tonight. I have some gesso, but have not yet tried it. So, Jan, you can do the stamping into the gesso, and you can run the gesso through a stencil. You have two, you can get two different results using that, right? So let's go in and try where there is equal 50-50 polka dot and open space, right? So what are we going to get in this area? You're going to get a little bit more on the gesso bits. Oh my goodness, look at that. I'll show you in a second. I'm going to really goldify this one. Want to break that area right there up a little bit. Which I can always go back in and add some pigment. See, it's dry already. You do not have a lot of open time with this. Look at that, just on the white with the gold. Love it. Oh, I lifted it. It's very cosmic-y. I love that. I want to try it up here. It's really getting messy on my fingers though. Yep, my hand is dirty now. It's not really giving me, it's not giving me life there. But am liking this now. Like, I got to get it off. Gold finger. But do you see it there? How pretty is that? Love that. Very nice. Okay. So, right, another technique to use your gesso. If you have your gesso, right, that's how you can tell you've had a great time. This I have to get up and wipe off quickly because it's kind of a mess. It's a mess. Now I can't even use them as art fingers anymore because they are, oh, I love that. Because they are too thick with guck. So just a quick wash. Doesn't need to be perfect, but were you one of those kids? I was one of those kids that if I had oranges on my hand, like sticky oranges, it would bother me. So, like I said, Vicki Boutin loves to do the mixed media art. I will get my hands in there and get messy, but I'm still like crazy where it will bother me. So I'm going to take this camera down. I'm going to jiggle you for a second just to give you close up. I'm hoping that you can see. Here we go. I'm sorry, I'm Blair Witching you for a second, but can you guys see that? Look how pretty that is. So I'm hoping it's not too blurry because I know these connections aren't always awesome, right? But look how pretty that is. These are the ones I had done earlier. Look at that with the circle. And what we just did now. I don't know, it's pretty blurry, I think, right? But I think that's super pretty, friends. So I'm going to put the camera back and I'm going to talk to you guys for a minute. So sorry for the jiggling. It's very Blair Witch. Oops. Like I told you guys, this is not like some kind of pro camera setup. It's just Vicki playing with you in the basement. There's that one, right? That's texture paste. Like I put the gold through a stencil. Look at that layer of very subtle and soft. And then bam. And then this one is with a very light touch if you want a much softer look. So very fun, friends. That was a lot of fun tonight. I do love this technique. Like I said, look at it when you put it in something. Like if it was on an album cover, that it's a layer on the background. So just look at the potential. Like this was created many, many moons ago when we used to do everything like you buy chipboard everything, right? So for some of you guys that cut these kind of things out, look how fun that is. It could be a total cover on a mini book. This could be your cover on a mini book, right? Look, from my book. So the possibilities are endless. Imagine when this is dry, like what a great, if you want contained funk, this could totally go on a layout where you aren't doing a whole background. These could totally be cut out and you'd have beautiful butterflies on pattern paper, right? So when you're looking at this, if you're like, I love watching Vicki, but I am not doing this because I don't like messy backgrounds like this. This is where I'd say, well, then don't put it on a background. Make your background and then cut it out. Can you imagine if you were a card maker? How pretty would this be if you just cut that piece out and then mat it on black or on navy, and you would have your card base with just like a beautiful sentiment on top. You can have contained funk. It's what I call it. Because if you look at my style, and you guys have watched me for a while, I don't do messy. Most of it is still like has lots of white and a lot of rusty eye space. But then I would totally go in here and cut a flower out of here or a circle. How amazing would that be if you did a whole bunch of those and then punch them out, or die cut circles and did that cascading circles all down a background, right? I think personally that it would be awesome. So I think that's a lot of fun. So let me show you when maybe this lighting is better. Look how pretty that is, friends. Like so pretty. And you can do as much of this as you want or as little. I love this as a whole background. I think this whole page could be really fun to make cards from or scrapbook. Very fun, right? And look it, I'll tell you already. I don't care if they all go in the garbage. For me, there's wealth and value in just sitting and making and spending time with my friends, which you know I love. But I love how these turned out. And like I said, you could just cut a whole bunch of maybe like 6x6s out. So you're not using a whole 12x12 background, especially when you're just learning. That I don't want you to go through your whole pad of foundations paper or whatever paper you're using. So you could make tags. Tags are a great thing. And then you could put them all on a big jump ring, and then you could write on the back or print it out on the computer and glue it on the back. And you could put it's your like recipe, mixed media recipes, right? I think that Friday nights are for learning. And then we're going to take all of this and I'm going to show you, we're going to sew some of these. I am very much into, if you guys haven't noticed, I love collage. Like to me, this is going to be, we're going to collage some backgrounds, some tags, some card fronts, just for the fun of it. We're going to die cut and layer them. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. So did you enjoy that? Does anybody have any questions? Was there anything you're not too sure about? If you're new here, welcome. I'm really glad that you joined us. If you're watching after the fact, thank you. I know not everybody can make it live. This is late for some on a Friday night or too early on a Saturday morning, depending on where you are in the world. But it's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun with this. And like I said, I'm just very happy for the company. I like to do these live rather than recorded because I don't have to edit it and you don't miss the flavor. Like the flavor of doing it in real time, I think is super helpful. One day I'll have enough time that I could make these into shorter videos where it's just literally sped up and you see the highlight reel. One day. It's one day Vicki would like to do it, but again, one Vicki doing all the things, right? So thank you as always for joining me. I forget, I think next week is Thursday night, right? So remember that because I will be flying on a jet plane to Moncton for Crop and Create. So I'm going to see some of you guys in person. I will do a live of something from there just so we can say hi. So watch for videos and all the rest of it. For some of you guys that I'm going to be seeing in person, I cannot wait to hug you. I will wear deodorant and brush my teeth and be presentable. I bought new pink shoes today to wear with you guys. So next Friday, I don't even remember which one is the next one, but it's next Friday. And then I think I'm off. Then I'm going to have a vacation. And then I'm going to have a vacation. And then I will be back to see you. But I'll look at the schedule. The schedule's posted somewhere. If you haven't already, make sure you give the video a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching after the fact, please still leave a comment in the regular comment section because any interaction is good interaction for these free, lots of content Friday Night Lives. So it is your one way that you can give back. If you are going to shop for any of the things with the share sale links that I haven't posted yet, unless Natalie did because she takes good care of me, I will put those up and I always love that support as well. And if you have any questions, let me know. If you're watching on Facebook, same, just you can like the video and make sure that you have liked the Vicki Boutin Creative page, the artist page. And if you haven't joined the creative community, come and do that as well. So it's good. We did a lot of fun things tonight, Kyle. So definitely when the live is done, go back and watch. It was a lot of fun. So if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for joining me on this wonderful Friday night. We had a lot of fun with gesso stamping. Gesso, or you could use texture paste. You just need a heavy body medium. And like I say, try it. You don't know if it's going to work until you try it. So give it a try. Have a wonderful weekend, friends. And I'll see you on Thursday this week. See you later. Bye-bye.